gain understanding, wisdom as a community and what we need to do to advance the quality of life that you have for us. Thank you, God. I pray that this meeting be everything, God. I pray, God, that everybody's heart, ear be touched. And I pray, God, the right thing to go to the right people that may be listening and not even listening, it gets to them. In the name of Jesus Christ, I pray. We pray as a community. Amen.
Amen. Amen. So, good morning, everybody. We do have a few presenters here today, but I'm just going to give a few updates for the Dominican Center / Amani United. Would you like to share anything, or you're good, Ms. Brown?
For those who don't know me, Elizabeth Brown, president of Amani United and youth organizer for Dominican Center. I would just like to remind everyone that the Youth Council March Against Gun Violence will be happening on the 30th, right after our food pantry. And their 3-on-3 is August 2nd, and signups for that have started.
Can you say take the log in for Zoom link? Thank you. So just to let everybody know, on next week, Monday, the 7th District Alderperson, DeAndre Jackson, will have some office hours here. So if anyone has any issues, concerns that they would like to address with him, they are more than welcome to stop by. He plans to be here from 9 to 3. Can you guys online hear me before we get started?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yep. So he'll be here from 9 to 3. Just a reminder, Amani has been chosen to be part of Block Build 2024. If you are interested in volunteering, you don't have to have a certain level of skills to volunteer. You can just let people in and out the entrance. If you know, if you have carpentry skills or you have any other skills that you're interested in volunteering with, that sign in, the last day to sign in is on Monday, the 15th. We will have our next pop-up on July 23rd on 2175 West Center. Ms. Brown just mentioned the youth march that will take place on July 30th. We will meet here. The route has not been confirmed yet, but if you are interested in being a part of that, that will take place from 2 to 6. We also have our mobile food pantry on that day, July 30th as well. The actual food pantry is from 12 to 2, but volunteers can come if you're interested in volunteering between 11 and 11:30. And we would appreciate any help that we can get for that. The next thing we have is the Youth Fun Fridays. They happen every second and fourth Monday. Every second and fourth Friday at Moody Park. So if you want to come out and volunteer and connect with some kids in the neighborhood, play some games, just assist Ms. Brown with tending to them. She welcomed you all to come out. We have some save the dates. So one of our residents has a bold and daring financial mini course that she's created surrounding budgeting, couponing, and stockpiling. Those classes are set to start late July, early August. If anyone's interested, let me know, and I can get that information to her and get you guys signed up. We are looking to do some community nights the last Friday in each month. We're looking for some ideas to share. So if you guys have any ideas, like a community karaoke we've done before, this community games, just something to bring the community together over a light meal, we are open to suggestions. The actual block build is August 16th and 17th. But again, you need to register to be a part of that. You need to register by the 15th to be a part of that. On the 16th and 17th of August. And then one last thing, we have our Harvest Fest and our Active Street Block Party that was rescheduled date will be October 26th, and that will be from 1 to 4 on 26th Street, which is our active street between Locust and Burlock. That is all that I have for you guys. And I will welcome our first presenter, Bill Christensen, which is the city comptroller.
Yes.
And it's not working. I done shut it down several times, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
Oh, you needed to.
Yeah, I was hoping to, but
I was too.
I'll
It just happened like that.
just have to explain everything on the slide. Okay. Okay. Great. So good morning. everybody. So my name is Bill Christensen, and I am the comptroller for the city of Milwaukee. So a little bit of background on myself. I am a lifelong city of Milwaukee resident. I grew up on the southwest side of Milwaukee. I'm an east sider now. Proud son of an MPS teacher and a Milwaukee firefighter. So I've got public service in my blood. I got to thank you. So the comptroller's office is an independent position. So I was elected in April. Thank you all very much for your support in the city of Milwaukee. So the value in having an independent third party as comptroller is we can give you, an unbiased look. I'm not here to defend anything that the city has done. I'm not here to advocate for this position or that position. Really, I'm here to give you neutral, unbiased analysis of how we got to the position that we're in today and what the outlook looks like for the city. So first, I'm going to go through just some real basic like building blocks of what makes up the city budget, where the money comes from, where the money goes, and then I'm going to get into the challenge that we faced in 2023 when we were building the 2024 budget that led to, you might have heard of Act 12, which instituted the sales tax and led to a number of other changes. So where the city's money comes from, first and foremost, is property taxes. Anybody that owns a property, you know that property taxes, you wouldn't be surprised to learn that property taxes are our #1 source of revenue in the city of Milwaukee. State shared revenue used to be our #1 source of revenue, but has been overtaken by property taxes. Now, state shared revenue, many years ago, the state said, look, it's difficult for every municipality to collect their own sales tax, their own income tax. Let us collect it all for you, and then we will redistribute it in a fair and equitable manner. Well, yeah, as a matter of fact, about 20 or so years ago, the amount of shared revenue that the city of Milwaukee received was flat, and it has been flat or had been flat until this year, 20 years. And I'm not talking flat in inflation adjusted terms. I mean, that number was just about 200 million, and it stayed at 100 million for 20 years. So obviously that led to some difficult decisions that needed to be. Sales tax, that's new in 2024. So the sales tax rate had been 5.5%. It's now 7.9% because at the same time as the city's 2% sales tax went into effect, the county increased their sales tax from 0.5% to 0.9%. Fees for service is another major source of revenue. So that's like the street lighting fee, the snow and ice fee. So essentially you as a property owner are paying for the cost of that service that's being provided. And then finally, we've got a number of other miscellaneous revenues. So there's permits, fines, what we call payments in lieu of taxes or pilots. So if you're a property that isn't taxable, a lot of times you pay a pilot payment to the city to kind of cover the cost of the city's services. And then finally, transfers from reserves, which is something that I'm going to get into a little bit later. So where does all that money go? Well, the first $2 out the door are for pension and debt service. So pension, that covers retirement for city employees. Debt service is when the city borrows money to pay for like a street project or to replace a building, things like that. The debt service payments, the repayments on those bonds are paid over 10, 15, or in some cases 20 years. And debt service payments, those are the first dollar out the door. You don't want to miss a debt service payment, otherwise you're never going to be able to borrow again. Departmental budgets. So you've got police department is by far the largest in dollar terms departmental budget. They're about 39% of the city's budget. Public Works is next at about 20%. Fire department, 18%, and all others make up about 23%. So my department, the comptroller's office, the health department, the library, everybody else makes up about 23%. So public safety, needless to say, is a very large source of expenditures. And it's worth noting that about 85% of all of the departmental costs are personnel related. So what I mean by that is like salaries, fringe benefits, insurance, pension that I talked about. So when you talk about budget cuts and budget savings, really you're talking about cutting people. Hey, DeAndre. You're really talking about cutting people and the services that those people provide. And often cases, that's services that people depend on. So as much as I'd like to say we can balance the budget by, me and my cubicle mate sharing a stapler and stuff, it's just, it's bigger than that. Really, it involves people, since people is really our primary cause. So some of the revenue restrictions the city of Milwaukee faces. So we have property tax levy limits. So this limits the amount of revenue that we're able to raise through the property tax. What it means is we can essentially increase the property tax levy. Now, when I say the levy, that's the total dollar amount that the city can only raise it by about 2 or 3%. So the state very tightly restricts how much we're able to raise through that. Shared revenue, I mentioned that before, flat for 20 years, no growth there. So that, everybody knows expenses always go up, and in recent years go up at a faster rate than we've seen a long time. So having your major revenue source stay flat, that's obviously tough. And finally, I mentioned fees for service, like street lighting fee can only be used for street lighting. The snow and ice fee can only be used for snow and ice. You can't increase the snow and ice fee to pay for expanded hours at the library. So it has to be tied to the service that you're collecting that money. So, as I mentioned, expenditures have been growing a lot faster than revenues. So how was the city dealing with that situation? Well, expenditure reductions was a core strategy. So I was at the budget office for 14 years. Every year, we were asking the departments that we worked with to make budget cuts in the neighborhood 2, 3, 4, 5%. So, I mean, a lot of that involved belt tightening, sharing staplers, things like that, or trimming kind of non-essential services. But really, that left us in a position where by the 2024 budget, there was no meat left on the bone. Everything that was left was essentially core important services. The other strategy that we used was drawing down on reserves. So that means we have, we'll call it little pots of money. We've got general fund balance, which is picture like the balance that you have in your checking account. You like to keep a cushion, but at some point you feel, okay, well, I can live with a little bit less cushion. So you draw down on that. But the catch with that is once you use it once, it's gone. It's finite. It's one time. So the best practice, all the government finance officers association materials that I'm familiar with, all their best practices say don't use one-time revenues for ongoing expenses, but just to keep the lights on at the libraries, keep services being provided, your garbage continuing to be picked up. We were forced to. So again, that left us with depleted reserves and not a lot of meat on the bone. And I just want to briefly touch on pension. It's kind of a complicated topic, but it really is the thing that led to the fiscal cliff that the city was facing in the 2024 budget. So the city has what they call a charter ordinance that requires that we pay full amount that these actuaries, these highly paid, very skilled accountants determine is what we need in order to fund the pension system. So you might have heard of other pension systems that are funded at like 20%, 30%, 40%. We're not like that. We were never like that. But we have a requirement per our own ordinances that says we have to make that fully required pension payment. Now that pension payment, it bounced up and down. And that made it really, really difficult for folks like me when I was in the budget office to plan for the next year. And it bounced up and down based on the returns in the market. If we had a good year in the market, we would need to contribute less to the pension. If we had a bad year in the market, we needed to contribute more. So me and folks like me said, we need to bring some stability. So the way we got that stability was by instituting a 5-year stable contribution policy. So we looked at the next 5 years and said, okay, what do we think we're going to need to contribute year after year over the next 5 years to get to that fully funded status? Well, what happened is in the middle of one of those 5-year periods where we contributed a flat amount, we lowered the assumed return on our investments. So we've got about $5.5 billion in the pension fund that are invested. And everybody else in the country was saying, we're assuming a lower rate of return on those investments. So we followed suit, as was best practice with everybody else in the country. They were all doing the same thing. But what we didn't do in the middle of that 5-year stable pension contribution period is increase the amount we were contributing. So we went from an assumed rate of return of 8.25% to 7.5%. Sounds like not a lot, but when you're talking the scale that we were dealing with the $5.5 billion pension fund, that resulted in hundreds of millions of dollars of now unfunded liability. So money that we should have been putting into the pension system, but weren't. So as a result, when that 5-year period ended and we needed a reset, it was going to reset at a much higher. So that's what led to this. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean,
It wasn't lost. The way to think about it is you assume a rate of return, and that rate of return will dictate this is the amount that you need to contribute to in order to get to that 100% funded level. Now, if you lower that rate of return, it doesn't result in lost money. It just means that that bar that you need to clear to get to that 100% funded is that much higher. So it's not lost money. It's just the calculation says you're that much further behind. You didn't lose any money, but the calculation says you're further behind.
Okay, so what are we doing now? Now that we've been, we haven't had enough time, enough years in yet.
Yeah.
So are we like this fast, 2% that we raised our tax? Is all of that going to that pension for the first year or 2 years or?
So actually about 90% of the revenue that we get from that sales tax is going to the pension. And actually it'll be going to that over, according to current projections, about the next 30 years.
Okay. So now is Madison giving us that still flat rate that they've been giving us, even though we have a 2% and we've increased? Have they changed?
But I wish that the slides were up because I'm getting into that. So oh, you got the slides? So no, Act 12. And I can skip ahead. I know I'm taking up a lot of time, but I can skip ahead to Act 12. What that did, Act 12 gave us the 2% city sales tax. It increased that shared revenue amount and it built in an escalator. So that shared revenue amount is going to increase, or should increase every year. So we're not going to be broke.
Okay, so the legislature is not going to decide, oh, well, Milwaukee, they're not going to do what they've been doing for the last 30-some years.
Well, I mean, they could change their minds at any point, theoretically. But the way that things currently stand is we stand to see increases in shared revenue for the first year.
And then did anybody suggest to the legislators that all of the counties raise the money that they need so that they don't have to depend so much on Milwaukee? Because Milwaukee being the financial vehicle of the whole Wisconsin, you can't take on your burden and all the rest of the county.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that case has been made, and I think it was that case that led to the city actually getting what we wanted through Act 12, through the sales tax. So I think that was one of the main points. Like, we are the economic driver of the city or the state of Wisconsin. So just give us our fair share and let us tax ourselves.
One other question about the school board. Do you have anything to do with that? You know, their budget, that's
right.
Does that come out of our money or no?
No, so MPS, they have their own taxing authority. So that referendum that passed, that was entirely separate from the city of Milwaukee. So the school board, they control the MPS budget and they control MPS revenues and expenditures. So there are some relationships, financial relationships between the city of Milwaukee and MPS, but we don't dictate or control how MPS spends.
Actually, when we voted for that and it passed,
yeah,
did it take our taxes up?
Yeah, I mean, your tax rate will most likely go up.
Okay, so is it really 7 or is it more than that?
Oh, so that's the sales tax. So the tax rate that went up through the referendum was property tax.
Oh, the only people that own property.
Correct.
Now, shouldn't it be smarter if you purchase anything in the city? You should be a part of that school board and some of that money should go to whether you own property or not. Is that true or how does that work?
Could you state.
I'm saying- The burden shouldn't just be on property owners.
Oh,
I'm saying if you go to a game, if you purchase anything that's taxable, that school thing should be included in that, and some of that money should go. I mean, it look like the property owners are paying twice, because
Right.
we also buy groceries and things too.
yeah.
But still, the other people are participating in this besides just property.
No, I think that's a really good point. That was one of the reasons why the city was very supportive of the sales tax, because if we had to raise that revenue through a property tax, you're hitting only people that live here. Or as a sales tax, you're hitting all the visitors that are gonna be in town over the next week. I think that's, yeah, I got you. So, just wanna touch on ARPA funds. So y'all may have heard about ARPA funds. The city had $394 million essentially fall from the sky. It was something that in my years in the city of Milwaukee, dealing with budgets, was unprecedented, never happened. No, the idea was to use that for transformational projects, something that would really have a long-lasting impact on the community. But given the situation that we were facing, the budget shortfalls, a lot of that, and I would say most of it, ended up being used to just essentially plug budget holes to pay for ongoing services. Now, there was a fair amount that was invested in the community, housing, lead service line replacements, a whole lot of other things. But a lot of it had to be used to plug budget holes, just to keep the lights on at the libraries, things like that.
Also, it didn't slip into someone getting a bigger increase or raise.
No, not like that. So in the 2024 budget, we were looking at depleted revenues, no meat left on the bone, and no real options for raising revenue. So the situation we were facing was a budget gap of $150 to $180 million. Just to give you a sense of the scale of 150 to 180 million. So then you get into those high numbers and it's hard to conceptualize. If you eliminated every single department in City Hall, so that big, beautiful building down at City Hall, all the departments, you got the mayor's office, my office, the comptroller's office, the city clerk. I mean, you eliminated every department, not just cut, but eliminated. You would save about $55 million.
That's it.
That's it.
What about all the work on the city hall every year, the millions of dollars to keep that building straight?
Yeah, well, hopefully that's come to an end, but yeah, no, I agree. That was a big cost. So basically the bottom line on that is just the way the math works, the way the numbers work. It would have had to involve, if we had to balance the budget through cuts, it would have had to come from police and fire. Unfortunately, so that's where the big numbers are. So, Act 12, real quick, what it did is it increased shared revenue, like you mentioned. It was a one-time increase of 10% or about $21 million and ongoing increases. The 2% city sales tax estimated to raise about $184 million this year, and it closed the city's pension system. So people that are on the city's pension system, they continue to be on it, but any new employees as of January 1st this year, they are on the state's pension system. And just a quick note on the short-term outlook as a result of Act 12, I mean, it avoided city's fiscal cliff. Reliable revenue growth from shared revenue, I think it's outstanding. It's a big win for the city. And the dedicated funding source, the 2% sales tax for that unfunded pension liability, that's a really big win for the city. And the long-term impact is we're not out of the woods. We are still going to be facing ongoing budget reductions, belt tightening. We're in a much better position than we were when we were looking at the $150, $180 million gap. But it's still going to be, we're still going to be facing challenges, which is why I'm here. You're going to be hearing a lot more about the city budget in the next month or two. There's going to be opportunities for people to have their voice heard on the city budget. The dates and times and locations of those are not known yet, but I know that usually in August, things really pick up. So I just wanted you all to be better informed about how we got to the position that we're in and some of the challenges we might be facing in the 2025 budget.
Well, one critical thing that you did mention, when we talk about decreasing something, you put human faces in front of us now. You're talking about people's health insurance, their benefits, and that changes no matter what company or wherever you go. So we should still bear that in mind when we say, cut the city, do this, do that. Well, it's people's lives that are dependent on this money as well.
Exactly.
It's-
And thank you, I appreciate all the time. Does anybody else have any other questions? I know I've taken up all your time here.
We legalize on the city,
What's that?
we legalize on
You know, it depends. That would be a great source of revenue, putting aside all the other issues, but we'll see. If we legalize it, will it I think I know what you were talking about.
Why we gotta look at your back and why we can't see your face?
People are driving to Illinois, Minnesota, but
I want- Okay, then I want to.
don't pay their tax. They
If
pay
you
it here.
legalize marijuana, it's not the same. So we're gonna have a bunch of high people. What are they gonna do? People are probably.
That's a whole nother subject. Y'all,
Okay,
y'all gonna journey off in the woods.
I wasn't prepared to look at that.
Take the Jesus meeting.
Why we gotta look at
Okay,
your
not
back
today.
if we can't see your face?
Sorry about. Thank you, Bill. Well, that could be another meeting, but it ain't gonna be for today, cause that's, yeah, we're not gonna do that. Thank you again, Bill. So next we have, Lamont and LaQuisha from, Milwaukee Community Land Trust to share some resources and some information with you guys. Oh, before they get started, you all have a survey on y'all chairs. If y'all can take the time to fill those out, just to give the city some feedback, we would greatly appreciate it. And then you guys can go ahead and get started. Excuse me.
Do we give it to him?
No, okay. Did y'all have any? Just gonna talk to them. Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? My name is LaQuisha. I'm the homeownership manager for the Milwaukee Community Land Trust. And this is Lamont. He's the executive director. Hi, everybody that's on Zoom. Thank you for joining. So we are a nonprofit organization, and what we do is we help families making as low as $15, giving them the opportunity to be able to enter into homeownership. So how do we do this? So what we do is we acquire land, and then we develop affordable housing, or we rehab homes, and then we find qualified buyers that are pre-approved, and then we sell the house to that home buyer, and then we are able to reduce the price of what we sell them to by keeping the land in the trust and then selling the home to the homeowner. So what does that mean? We own the land and they own the house. This is a way for us to reduce the price. So all of our homes that we sell them under market rate. So the price is between 70 to 90K. And this is crucial because we know we're in a time now where all of the houses are priced very, very high, and most families cannot afford to buy just because they don't make a certain amount of income. So that's why we're here. We're here to help you do that. We do this by going into a 99-day lease agreement with the family when they lease the land. And so this lease basically binds the house and the land together to ensure that they can do, that they have full ownership of the land while they are owning the house on that land. They can use it as they will, build on it, things of that nature. This is to ensure, the homeowner that, hey, we're not gonna just sell the house from up under you, or, the land up under you or anything like that. This is to give them some security. But it's really to also promote community. So this is how we do this. So you got the house at a discounted price, so you agree that you're going to sell it to the next home buyer at a discounted price. And this is how we keep this affordability going again and again and again. So when you decide you would like to sell that home, we have a restricted formula, and that's how we calculate how much equity you will get on selling the house. So we want you to get something, of course, if you decide to sell your home, but we will also want you to be able to allow that next homeowner the opportunity to be able to afford a home. And it's kind of like paying it forward. Like, hey, I got the opportunity, and I'm going to allow somebody else the opportunity to be able to enter into ownership. I think what is so unique about the Community Land Trust is we have a stewardship component.
So even from the time that you start trying to do the process, I'm here to help you. So I've spent many years as a counselor, homeownership counselor. And so I'm there to help you if you have any issues, financial needs, or if you just need support. Maybe you get a letter in the mail, you don't really understand what they're asking, or if something happens in the house and you just may need that additional support. I think the stewardship component is really important because a lot of us are first-time home buyers in our families. And so we don't have anybody we can just call and say, hey, how do I fix this? Or what do I do? I'm not sure. And so being able to have that additional support as a first-time home buyer is crucial, because a lot of people fall out of home ownership just because they don't have the support and they don't know where to go to get the necessary resources to be able to resolve whatever issues they have. I think it's a great opportunity for Milwaukee, especially with a lot of people trying to get towards home ownership, and with the prices being so expensive, this is an option. Again, this is not the option, this is a option. And it may not work for every family, but for some families, this may be an option for you and your family. And so we are new, but we are thriving and we are growing rapidly. We have 4 homeowners currently. We are renovating 5 units right now. And when those units are done, we're going to be renovating some more. So we are moving forward to making sure that we have access to affordable housing for residents in Milwaukee. Do you have any guys have any
Yeah.
questions?
You know something? You're not the first one that have come through talking to us about land trust.
Land trust, okay.
But in the short period of time that you have spoken, I've got a better picture and understanding out of all the other times I thought, oh no, they're just trying to take our property.
Oh,
Trying to
yeah.
pull it fast.
Yeah.
And now, if I buy a duplex and decide I want to rent, you can. But I'm hoping that you will hold me to a standard that I'm renting. And that house is, you're gonna be a good landlord and not.
Yes.
Okay.
So so that is also in some of the requirements. So we do have duplexes, and when you do rent a duplex, one of our requirements is that you go based off of HUD's guidelines for rental. So you have to charge a certain rent for, fair market rent to that buyer. So you can't just say, I'm gonna charge you folks $1,400 because that's what I want to do.
And that's going crazy like that.
Yeah, no, so we want to make sure that it's affordable for you and whoever you put in that home to rent to, that is also affordable for them. I'm happy you mentioned maintenance, because that was something that I didn't touch on. So because you're leasing the land, you pay a $50 fee to lease the land.
That monthly.
That's monthly. But when we calculate the income, the payment, the total payment, we calculate utilities, $150 for utilities. We also include the lease fees of $50 to lease the land, and also $50 for a maintenance reserve. And what that maintenance reserve is, it's like an escrow account. So it's like you put $50 in there, but when you need to fix something, you have some money to be able to tap into, to be able to utilize it to keep the maintenance up of your house.
Also, if you need a fence and you don't have all the money.
You can say, hey, I want to tap into my maintenance.
Oh, I see that, I didn't get that understanding, that part from before. Now, do you work with the other realtors? Are you a realtor or?
No, we're not.
So,
It's a regular real estate transaction. People can choose to be represented by a realtor, or they don't have to have a realtor. And the benefit would be, we have a fixed price. So there's no negotiation. The unit is already being developed. So if someone wants to forego having a realtor, they can. So far, everyone wants a realtor.
in other words, I've already downsized, my home's already sold. But if I wanted to sell my house to you, I wouldn't have needed a realtor.
If in your situation, the way it could have worked is, say there's someone in the community that wanted to buy your house. They could have bought your house if it was what's called turnkey ready, meaning that there was no improvement needed. They could buy your home, agree to the land trust principles, and depending on what you were selling it for, they could just come into that lease fee situation. Let's say you wanted 100,000, but the market says this house really should probably be about 60,000. Then the onus would be on us, because they come with a ability subsidy, so we could reduce the price for the next home. But sometimes people have really good, like where you don't need a whole lot. And we are looking at exploring a neighborhood-driven kind of approach, where people could go out in the market, see really quality homes, and then we would give them that subsidy.
Okay, then the next thing.
Can somebody ask a question, cause we got some hands up,
Oh, okay, I'm
and
Go
I
ahead.
not to be rude.
I know, don't be rude, cause
Okay. One came on staff to say in layman's terms what the rest of us said in professional, I got my button, my tie on terms. So I appreciate you, Shay, for everything that you've done and everything that you're doing, because you are getting it clear to the people who may not understand. They may be, it broken down 2 + 2.
Oh, yeah.
So I appreciate you for that.
And the history behind the land trust is rooted in Black history. So this started because Black farmers were losing their land due to voting. And so they came together and they said, we're gonna create a land trust so that we can collectively share this land and use the land and grow crops. So this is rooted in our history. Martin Luther King cousin started the land trust. He was one of the founders to starting this. And so this is just a tool that we're using even today to empower us as Black people, to liberate us, to be able to attain things that this society may be making it difficult for us to reach. And so I like to say that because we be like, hold up, what, you own the land and we own the house? Like, how is this gonna work? And so just to ensure you that this is not, we're not here to come into the community and push people out of the community. We are here to keep people in the community, and we're just using this as a tool to do so.
And the next thing that you're doing, so that the outsiders from Florida or somewhere else coming in and buying, you should protect your property. That way you have control. If we all, instead of going and just selling it to somebody else, call them. So that we can keep it in the community and they can't raise prices and get real scared.
The houses are completely gutted, new roofs, new furnace, everything is new. We also put appliances in the home, so families that are just moving from a rental, they can't afford to buy a refrigerator or so because you've been, renting. So we provide all of those. So we really try to make the home turnkey ready and a home that we would want to live in. We're like, hold up, this isn't right. Like, this isn't something we want our family in. And so I take pride in that because we want you to have nice things too. And that's why the buyer driven initiative that we're hoping to start is so crucial too, because we want to give you options. We don't want you to feel like, oh, I have to live in this neighborhood or I have to live here. We want you to say, well, I love my neighborhood and I want to live here. And maybe some people are like, hey, I have kids that want to go to Wauwatosa. So, hey, I want to move to Wauwatosa. We want to give you options so that everybody feels like they're making the best choice for their family. A lot of us as Black people, we always feel like we're forced to only have to take certain things. And so that's my drive, is to give you options because it's important for us as a community to have those.
I have one more question. Anybody got a question?
We got the online. Okay, our online audience, do y'all have any questions for the land trust?
So how do we get one of these houses?
So you would contact me, and basically what I would do is I would walk you through the process as a counselor, basically going over all of your information to determine where you are in the process. If you're ready, then I kind of refer you over to one of our counseling agencies to either get you that home buying education and to also send you over to one of our approved lenders so that you can get pre-approved.
So you do get
So
a
how do
bank.
we get in contact with you to be able to do this?
Oh, my number, guys, get a pen. It's 414-635-3530. And I answer all the time. Leave a voicemail and I'll call you right back. And just reach out to me. And even if you don't work with the land trust, I just want to voice how important home ownership is. Even if the land trust is not an option for you, us as a people, we must move forward with home ownership. We must secure things for our families and utilize the resources, which is needed in many other people in our community, to get you into a home, even if it's not with the land trust, because it's important for us to be homeowners, whatever route you decide to take. So, like I said, I've worked for a lot of the counseling agencies, so I'm very familiar with their products and how things work. So if you just need to get routed in the right direction, yeah, that too, because that's why I'm here. I'm here to serve the community. So
Did you say your number was 635-3530?
yep,
Now, did you bring
414-635-3530.
Did you bring cards?
Actually, I paid first. Well, you know how it is. I changed curses to come here. And so
Oh.
our car is in my purse, but call that number and you will definitely get a response from me, okay?
635-3320.
635-3530.
635-3530.
Yep, 3530. And my name is LaQuisha, but you can call me Shay. If you can't remember that when you call.
So 635-3530.
Yep,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. Is that all, guys?
No, one other question.
Okay, go ahead.
People that already own their home,
Yes.
sometimes, and they're a first time buyer in there now, if they want to join the land trust, can they still do it? No.
You have to be 1 year reduced from ownership. So let's say someone did lose their house or sold their house, technically, they would have to at least wait 1 year before they can consider.
Okay, now, is that the understanding now, before the land trust, the way it was? It's like you could own your own home and join this land trust.
No, not really. We
Oh.
never instituted that. There's been interest in the community to suggest that. Our model really isn't housing.
Are you guys gonna take this to the radio?
Yes, yes. So
Then you'll be flooded, you'll probably get a bigger staff.
Well, we need more funding to really, open something new.
to do the fire driven initiative because that's gonna open up more opportunities for people in the community. So it's just a funding portion. If people just understanding what is the land trust, people are like, what is this? It's very new to Milwaukee. People really don't understand it. And if you're not talking to somebody that's gonna say, hey, this is what it is. Okay, this is how it is, plain and simple. This is how it is. Yes.
Probably a little bit of an off-center question. Let's say you're a married couple and you have separated, doing, the person is there, but you separate, so you own a property, you own the property already, but that, the husband wanted to get a different property. Because you own the property legally, now you're separated. That person be able to then get.
As long as they haven't been owning a house for at least, well, HUD says 3 years, but us says a year.
Oh, now I heard something.
Yeah, but they're
They changed.
they're not divorced, so they would say,
Oh. She said they were legally separated, right? Oh, yes. And he would have to not be a homeowner for a year, then he could do it, you guys would have to be legally divorced. Yeah.
Now that was just on TV.
Okay, so my problem is I've been living in this neighborhood 33 years. My landlord passed away when she was 96, and I didn't know about it until a week before last when her daughter came over and started making all these new rules. So I would like to live in a house. I have a little dog and 2 cats, and I would like to live in a house to where I don't have to deal with people like her. Now, when I had the landlord, she let me do whatever I wanted to do because I kept everything up. But when she passed away, I didn't know about it until months later when her daughter just pops up out of nowhere. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I'm trying to get a place where I don't have to deal with people like her.
I think that's why a lot of people that are renting are looking to do that. Either A, they're dealing with slumlords or that won't fix anything or that's causing them issues, or they're hiking up the rent to the where you can't even afford to live in the house and they're not even renting any of the items in the house. And so that's why I said homeownership is important.
They keep the outside looking real nice. They keep the outside looking real nice. So when the car comes by and writes everything up, it looks nice. But they never take care of the inside.
So Ms. Curl, if you don't mind, we can connect offline and I can connect you with, Community Land Trust.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay,
But I do want to say one thing that I heard on television.
yes.
If a married couple get a divorce, the wife could be a first-time home buyer applying for a house.
Yes.
That's what they said. If you are divorced, you, or either him, he can be a
The
first-time.
person who don't keep the house. becomes
Yeah,
the person.
Yeah, no, you guys are. Yeah, because you guys are still legally bound.
And one thing about the land trust, we have. Us, because we're really trying to stabilize our communities and neighborhoods. We're not just trying to create like a cheap ownership structure where people could have like investment property. So we really want someone who's gonna be there, you know.
And you want to be able to get different property for your rent. So kind of like looking at another way of possibly acquiring it, but still keeping that money within the community without having to go through the different rent.
And we really price our products so that your children can afford home ownership. We serve people at 45% of area median income, which is about 15 or 20 bucks an hour. And so folks can get in there with less income. And then they also have less of a mortgage to finance. It's a lot easier to finance a $70,000 mortgage than it is a $125,000 mortgage. So I think, you know, as people become familiar with community ownership, we see younger and younger people who are willing to take on the land trust option because they see the value of having a really affordable home ownership note. And like Shay was saying, most of our units, total cost of home ownership is going to be less than $1,000. People are renting and still paying utility, not getting good maintenance and paying much higher than that.
We do say trap spots.
The trade spots, right? And so even though our homes are 70,000, 90,000, they compare to units that are probably in the market at 125, 150,000. So they're really durable units. We're just trying to get to greater. But
So areas are you having now? Like I'm downside.
we have 3 units close by, 2508 North 24th Street.
I want to be, to go lower down, like around 17, 16 or that way. Just for a month.
No.
It's Lindsay Heights.
Right now, we have units. Yeah, we have
I
Target.
got a number I could call.
We have Target neighborhood, but we have some units in your neighborhood. You mean the price point?
It's between
Yeah,
70 and
70 and 90.
Yeah.
2508 North 24. 3220 North 28. And 2872 North 21st Street. North 21st. That's Locust. I know.
What you saying? You have area places in the neighborhood, it's not just.
We picked 5 target neighborhoods throughout the city, and these were neighborhoods where we saw a predominance of the people being low income, somewhere where most people were about 50% of the area median income. HUD defines low income as 80% of the area median income, but we can't just target people at 80%. For our program to work, you got to target at a price point where most of the people, that's affordable for them. And so we chose Amani, Harambe, Muskego Way, Clark Square, and what was the other one? Oh, Lindsay Heights. And so we had units that we just sold, 3 units in Lindsay Heights. Now we have some units in Amani, but we're still taking inventory of units in those 5 target areas. We may have an outlier every now and then that we bring in, but those are going to be our 5 core areas unless we expand our geography, which recently we did. We said that we can serve, we can actually do any kind of deal in the Milwaukee County area. So kind of our hope is that folks will be able to see opportunities outside of the city of Milwaukee as well as inside.
Now, when you do your home meetings, then you should come to that with them, right?
They can coordinate something with our house coordinator.
Right, because if our kids are paying $13,000 to $1,400 for rent, they can own the home.
Oh, yeah. And if they are struggling with like, oh, my credit isn't good, I have products where they don't even look at credit. That I can refer them to. Zero down, like we recently talked to Lita, they have a product where it's zero down, no credit score, they're not looking at credit score. So there are products out here, we just don't know, people just don't know that they exist, and it's like, they are available to us, we just need to know about it. Right, but sometimes you can work on all those things, work on your collection items, work on all that stuff, and your credit still not increased to where it needs to be for you to get pre-approved, so we don't want that to be a barrier to hold you back from buying.
So it's too bad you guys don't have somebody that owns a apartment complex.
That's the goal, we're getting to that.
It's there for the senior citizens.
Yes, that's the
Okay,
goal.
thank you so much.
Thank
You did a great
You
job.
guys, thanks for listening.
May I add? Sure. That's okay.
Yes.
As the marketing communication chair for MCLT, to answer your question about whether or not we're on the radio, right now, what MCLT is trying to do is get the word out to all of you, because word of mouth from a layperson is better than, hey, let's professionally get all on the radio.
Yeah.
The reason being is because all of what you received today, all of what you received especially, will go harder to your neighbor, to your other organizations, than just hearing us on the radio. We're getting to that point, and we'll be there sooner than later. But I really appreciate the questions that you asked and the fact that you heard them differently than before.
And then I want to add another thing. Will you go to the
Ms. Richardson,
no, I'm sorry.
I mean,
So you can connect with them, after the meeting, if they're sticking around for a few minutes, if not, to get their information. I do want to be mindful of time, we have two other guest speakers and the other person, I don't know if he wants to speak or not, but again, I'm a respecter of time, so. We have, Renee, I don't wanna say your last name wrong, so I'm gonna say Miss Renee from Legal Action to share some information, so we welcome her.
Morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Renee Pasiak. I'm a staff attorney with Legal Action of Wisconsin. We are not legal aid. A lot of people think we are the same, but we're actually two separate organizations. We are a nonprofit civil legal aid provider, which means we don't do criminals. So a lot of times we get calls from people who are annoyed with the public defender's office. They're looking for an alternative. We cannot provide that. Want to get that out of the way. Civil is really everything else, which is quite a big area. We provide support with housing. So, it seems like that's a big topic here. We have an eviction defense project. So if people are facing eviction, we can try to help you. If there were issues with the property or you weren't given proper notice or things like that. We do stuff with conditions. So if the place that you're living in really is not habitable or there are issues around its condition, we can try to help with that. Other things too, I'm not a housing attorney, so I don't want to try to talk about that because I will probably mess it up. But we also do consumer law. So if people are facing bankruptcy, we can try to help with that. Any of these scams that are going around, identity theft, fraud, things like that, we can try to assist with. We do some barriers to employment work. So if people are eligible for expungement or they want to apply for a pardon, we can try to assist with that. Driver's license recovery, other things that are maybe prohibiting people from trying to pursue a nursing degree or some type of specialized field where there are certain requirements for them to get into that. Public benefits is a big one. So if you think that you should qualify for SSI or Medicare, Medicaid or something, and you aren't getting those benefits, we can try to help you figure out why. I believe we do some work with unemployment as well. So if you should be receiving unemployment and you're not, you can give us a call. I should mention most of our services do have to be provided to people who are considered low income by the federal guidelines. But that's not the case for everything, so I would say just call if you're not sure and we'll screen you. And if we can't help, we always try to refer you to someone. What kind of, so we have some specialized programs too. We have a veterans project, so if you or somebody you know are a veteran and you're having an issue, a legal issue, you know, we could potentially assist. I know we've done a wide variety of things within that, like, helping with divorce or other family law things, helping with housing. And we have a harm reduction project. So for people who are facing a substance abuse issue or just struggling with that, we really want to help with whatever legal needs they have to help them to get on the right track and be able to help that. So again, pretty broad. I know our attorney who does that has helped with divorces and other things. What I'm here to talk about is our Crime Victims' Rights Project, which a lot of people don't really know about, but if you are the victim of a crime, say there was an armed robbery or you were assaulted or something like that, you have certain rights that come along with that status as a victim. And I use that word because that's a legal term. That's not to say that you're not a survivor, or you're not, however you want to define yourself, it's just, that's the word the law uses. So what are those rights? There's a lot of them. There are things like you have the right to privacy. So maybe you don't want your name to appear in the court records. We can try to advocate with the court to use your initials or use a pseudonym or something like that. A lot of times in the course of a criminal case, the defense attorney will want access to your mental health records or your medical records, and we can try to basically say that those are not needed or to at least limit the scope of access that is granted throughout the course of the trial. There are a lot of safety concerns that come when someone is a victim of a crime. So we can assist with safety planning, just helping to make sure that, you know, you feel safe throughout the course of this. You know, sometimes the criminal case is over, or let's say the offender is on probation, they're not supposed to have any contact with the victim, but they're doing that. You know, a lot of times we have people say, I've reported it to the police and nothing has happened, or like I've called the probation agent and they're just not doing anything. So then we can get involved and try to advocate on their behalf, because these are rights that are in our statutes and the state constitution. So they're very important. Yeah, did you have a question?
Okay, so do you have people like, say you had a situation where you was hurt and you were attacked, and then I forget who it was, but it was somewhere downtown, and then they were supposed to give me some money or something, and then I kept calling these people. So how do you know where that money went to? Because it's been years, and this person is supposed to pay like a restitution to me. And it's supposed to go to the courts downtown or whatever. And then when I tried to contact the individual that was over the case, I never got any return phone calls. I never got any updates. Every time I went down there, I had a run around. So after many years later, we're talking over like 10 years now. What do you guys help with something?
We can look into it. I can give you my card and you can look into it. Restitution is tricky. It can be somewhat easy to get it ordered, but actually getting the money can be difficult. A lot of times the defendant will say, I went to prison as part of my sentence, and so I don't have any money. Or they'll just say, like, I was low income before this even happened, and now I'm trying to like get back into the community and find employment, or
I can understand that part,
Yeah.
but the
Yeah.
thing is, how do you even find out if that person was able to even pay someone?
Yeah, so with restitution, I believe you do have, so if there was like a civil judgment against a person,
Yeah.
there are certain like enforcement mechanisms that can be used, and I believe with restitution, you have those same protections. So yes, I will give you my card, we can
Okay.
connect and we can do some investigation. So yeah, that's an example of trying to help people get restitution or compensation. Let's say, your loved one was killed and you're considered the victim, because it's not just the person who it happens to. If you had a child who was, you know, unfortunately died or something, you could actually legally be considered the victim on their behalf. And so then we can still help you advocate. Maybe you need money to help pay for the funeral costs, or, you know, if there are medical bills, someone else got hurt and was related to the incident. So really wide variety of things that we can assist with. So I have a ton of information about like all the programs I just mentioned. So if you want to connect afterwards or you want more information about a certain program, let me know. We have a toll-free number for all our programs, which starts the intake process. If you need help with an issue, you're not sure. Help, just call that number. They'll ask you some screening questions and then they'll get you to the right person. There's also an online option, so you can search for a website and enter the information, and then someone will get back to you. So don't want to take up too much time. Any other questions at all?
I asked a question for a resident who asked yesterday. Do you do anything with like a car accident? Assist the people with, if the person that have insurance?
Yeah, we don't do personal injuries, so I would say no. We also don't do torts. So like, let's say
You don't do what?
it's called torts. So let's say you you were the victim of a crime and you want to like sue the person who hurt you. Like we don't do civil suits like that.
Okay, that's
yeah.
Okay.
Does anyone online have any questions? All right.
Do you have a number?
Yes, well, okay. What would you want to know? Like, what would you be interested in?
Oh, what's your number so I could talk to you later?
Well, is it about a crime victims' rights issue or is it about a different issue? Because I just want to make sure I get you to the right person. If it's about like housing, you don't want to talk to me because I don't know.
No, it's not about housing.
Okay.
So
yeah. Let me here 1 second. Yeah, if you want to call me, you can call 414-710-5371. And I can put it in the chat.
And your name?
Probably. Renee.
And your name?
Oh,
Renee.
it's already in there. Yep, my name is Renee. Thank you, Dominican Center, for putting that in there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, just where would that person go?
Yeah, I don't know what they could call the 800 number and the people who do like the intake process could refer them.
You know that number right offhand or no?
It's on here. Just take this.
Oh. Does anybody else have any questions for Renee? Hearing none, you, yes, I was going ahead.
I don't know. I mean, we might. I just don't, because I don't do housing. I don't know the full stuff. I would say just call and ask, right?
But you were legal action.
I think we have a contact that does that.
Push something is.
Legal aid, I think they do that as well. We got somebody in our office, I can reach out to him to see if they do that, and then I can connect you with that information if they do. Does anybody else have anything before we move forward with our next presenter?
Moving forward.
Okay, what you said, ma'am. We have Teague with CDA. He's going to share some information and some you can share your screen, Teague. You got permission. I mean, you got access to share your screen. So he'll share some information with you guys now.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. My name is T. Whaley Smith, and what really drives me is I want to make Milwaukee the best place on planet Earth, particularly for those families left out of the larger social, political, economic systems. And I am blessed to be able to do that as part of my day job as the head of an organization called the Community Development Alliance. What the Community Development Alliance does is we work with residents to identify what the housing needs are in the neighborhood, and then we go out and find funding resources and other things. So the way to kind of think about this presentation is it sounds like there's a lot of interest in community land trust and other homes. Our job is to get the money together in order to build new homes where residents want them. So the problem that we're trying to solve right now is that we know citywide there are 2,000 people that go through home buyer counseling every year, and 600 of them get homes. And we should celebrate those 600 people that got homes, but acknowledge that means that there's 1,400 people on the bench every year. And the reason that they're on the bench is because we don't have enough inventory of quality homes that are available to them. And we also don't have all the credit resources we need, although we're further ahead on the credit side, as Shay mentioned, versus some of the other inventory issues that we're at. And so we have looked at the Amani neighborhood, and this is the first map that you have that was printed out with the yellow and pink dots. And when you look at the Amani neighborhood, what you see, every yellow dot represents somebody that wants to buy a home, that is doing the hard work of getting their credit together, going through home buyer counseling. But the pink dots represent people that have actually been able to buy homes. And it's about 100 families in Amani that have gone through home buyer counseling, but only about 10 of them have been able to purchase homes. You'll see in 1 year, which this map is, only 2 people were able to buy homes in Amani during that year. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, just in
that year. Yeah. So it's people that are able to buy homes in Amani. So the way to think about it is, because we have this bench building up, we actually have a live version of this map that you can see at any time if you want to go see. Right now, there's over 100 people that will show up on that map in Amani are looking to buy homes, and only 10 of them have been able to buy homes. So for every 10 people that want to buy a home, there's only 1 that's able to find a home that is available to them. And so we ask ourselves that question in neighborhoods like Amani, why is that? So we looked at lending data. So maybe it is that people can't get loans, but there are the homes available. And what's happening in Amani is that there are almost nobody applying for a loan, because you have to have a home. You have to tell the bank the home you're interested in if you want to buy or apply for a loan. So when you have entire census tracts where there's 0 loan applications, that means that there is no inventory that people are able to access. And so we looked at Amani to try to understand why that is. You have a map with a black background. What you see on that is that in other neighborhoods like Sherman Park, there's a lot of red dots. And what those red dots mean is that that is transfer of a single family home or a duplex from one person to another. And those red dots mean that there are lots of sales happening in Sherman Park. So if we want to intervene in the market in Sherman Park to make sure more of those homes go to homeowners versus landlords, we can do that by incentivizing homeowners, trying to restrict landlords, et cetera, and we can boost the homeownership rate in Sherman Park. That strategy, however, is going to be less effective in Amani, because if you look in the Amani area, there's very few red dots, which means there's very few property sales happening. Well, why is that? It is because predatory landlords have preyed on your neighborhood, are buying up the properties, and now they become cash revenue generating, and they have no incentive to sell it. And they really have no regulations. Not without effort. We could talk about what the city of Milwaukee has done to try to restrict landlords, and has been trumped by the state. But for this purposes, we just need to understand that there's not too many properties that get sold in Amani each year. The other reason that there's not many property sales happening is because of all of those white dots. Those white dots represent vacant lots. And so Amani has almost 600 vacant lots. These were all lots that at one point had a single family home or a duplex on it. And that actually represents a tremendous opportunity, because if we want to get those 100 people that are on the bench right now into home ownership in Amani, maybe 5 of them a year, we might be able to find homes for them out of the existing inventory. But if we were to build 20 homes, we could have 20 new homeowners in Amani. And so what we're working on right now is we looked at the plan that Amani has put together, the Fond du Lac and North plan, which calls for home ownership opportunities that are affordable for people that already live in the neighborhood. And I just want to tell you a little bit about how we're building homes right now. So we have over 160 homes that we're building citywide right now. 8 of them are in the Amani neighborhood. How we're able to do that, each home, and brace yourself for this number, each home cost us $250,000 to build. And our goal is to sell it for $120,000 or less. And that $120,000 number or less gets you to that $1,000 monthly payment, which is less than rents being paid in most neighborhoods. So the way that we're filling that gap right now, so we got to raise about $130,000 for every home. We go out and raise $30,000 of philanthropy, and then we get $100,000 of ARPA funds. ARPA funds, the American Rescue Plan Act, was a great resource, and it is now over. So we are trying to figure out how to replace that $100,000 for each home. To give you a quick example, the 8 early childhood education homes that we're building right now in the Amani area, we're getting $30,000 per unit from philanthropy, from Northwestern Mutual Foundation, and we're getting $100,000 per unit from the state Department of Workforce Development, because they want to support early childhood educators that are working at COA or other early childhood centers. So now that that $100,000 is gone, we need to go out and raise another $100,000 per home. We have some ideas how to do that. One idea we're just going to call other. It's really complicated, but we're working on that strategy to bring in some federal money. The reason I'm coming to you today is because we have the opportunity to raise $50,000 locally per unit through something that's called a coordinated backbone TID. And that's a big, scary term, so let me just break it down. What coordinated means is that we get multiple home builders to focus in the same area. So for example, in the King Park Midtown area, where we're building 120 homes, we've brought together Habitat for Humanity to build some single family homes. And then Michael who grew up in the Washington Park neighborhood just out of Midtown, to build duplexes in that area. So this works if we coordinate multiple builders to build in about a 4 by 6 block area. The reason it's called a backbone is because the state law requires that if we're going to draw a map for a TID district, that it has to be contiguous. The parcels have to touch each other. So what we do is we look at that 4 to 6 block area, and we draw sort of a spine in that area of as many vacant lots as possible. And then we draw some arms out to grab the other areas that are in the district. So they can look a little bit like a backbone with arms, or they can look a little bit like a weird amoeba. You know, we can't capture the whole area. So we only want to impact the parcels that we have to do this. And then we get to how does this actually create money? And that's the TID, the tax incremental district. And the way that a tax incremental district works is that right now that vacant lot is paying $0 in taxes. If we build a $120,000 home on it, sell that for $120,000, that taxpayer, that homeowner, is now paying $2,500 in taxes, and we can capture that $2,500 in taxes every year for the next 25 years, which gives us about $50,000 to put into the home. And so we can generate about $50,000 per home by using this technique. Now, it's important to note that this is not a new tax. This is the same tax bill that everybody gets. In fact, the homeowner in the new home won't even know that they're in a TID. Their neighbor that had the existing home will get their tax bill. The new homeowner will get their tax bill. They'll look the same. The difference is that existing homeowner, their money goes into the city budget. The new homeowner, their tax bill goes into the project until that $50,000 is paid off. And the natural question is, well, does this put the city at a disadvantage? And the answer is it doesn't, because in scenario A, there's no taxes being paid on that property and going to the city budget. And in scenario B, there's no taxes being paid to the city budget until after 25 years. And after 25 years, then it does add to the city budget. So in order to do something like this, as an example, in the King Park area, we did this and we were able to generate $2.5 million to put into those homes. Now in that area, if we're going to do about a $10 million project, The homeowners, when they buy the homes, kick in about 5 million when they buy the homes. The TID district brings in 2.5 million, and then we have to figure out the other 2.5 million. So if we decide we want to do a TID district in this area, we meaning the people in this room and the other people who are not here, the alderman who we presented in front of at the King Park area, I was interested in the idea, and we're here to talk with all of you as constituents to see if you're interested in the idea, is that we could repeat that here in the map that you see that was handed out. So the first map that you see is that we cannot draw a TID district. It's the map with the green boundaries on it. We cannot draw a TID district for all of Amani. And because when we draw a TID district, we're on the clock. And every year that we don't develop something, we lose out on that tax increment. And so if we drew a district for all of Amani, it would take us 25 years to build out that whole area, and there wouldn't be any money left. So we want to draw a map that we can develop in about 3 to 5 years. And that way we can capture 20 to 25 years of increment for each house that is being built. And we think that you could break up in Amani in about 9 different areas. And once you finish one area, you could move on to the next. So I think we have a realistic opportunity here to build 20 new homes in Amani to get people off of the bench that are in Amani into a home at a price that they can afford. So the final map that you have there is an idea of where this might work in Amani. And in that area, this is the map with the orange and the pink lots. And then the very left-hand bottom corner of that map is where you're sitting right now. That's the Dominican Center. So we could draw a map that goes from here down to 18th Street and up to Burleigh. And in that area, there's about 60 city-owned vacant lots. There's about another 15 private lots. And on 6 of those lots, we're already planning on building those homes for early childhood educators. And so we know that there were some homes to be built there, but with the support of the funders that are already at the table and our efforts to go out and get more resources, we think that this could really work, and we could build 20 homes in Amani every year over the next 3 years, fill up those vacant lots, and then move on to the next area if it's a strategy that works for you all. We have been working with many of the people in this room and otherwise. There's a tour that was done of some of the homes that we could build, including what the EC homes looked like, and also duplexes. We think that, we know, because we got a lot of positive feedback, is that duplexes are a big part of the strategy because it provides an income for that person that's living in the home to cover the cost of the mortgage. So we would think that there'd be a blend of single-family homes and duplexes in there. We're working with the Milwaukee Community Land Trust to figure out what's the right number of those single-family homes and duplexes should be in that area. And Amani residents will really drive that decision of the 20 homes that we build. How many options should we provide? How many should be in the land trust or otherwise? There's also some really other cool things we could do. So for example, in your neighborhood plan, it talks about community or pocket parks. So some of the vacant lots, particularly on corners, which sometimes aren't as desirable, you could do a pocket park to serve several areas. Also, we have the opportunity that we've gotten a lot of interest in townhomes. Nobody's really building townhomes, but townhomes offer the opportunity to even drop the cost of homeownership even lower. And often for professionals or people who have kids or otherwise that don't want to take care of a home, you have a structure that somebody else is mowing the lawn, and things like that. So lots of opportunities, but the primary goal is to get as many single-family homes and owner-occupied duplexes to cover what's identified in the resident-based plan. I know you all have been here a long time. Happy to answer any questions, but have cards here as well. And we're kind of here a lot, so we can come by really anytime. Yes.
Question. So you said you have 20 homes already that you're working on, or a possibility?
We have 8 homes that we're working on in Amani. 6 are in this area. 2 are further north in by COA.
Okay, so on the other side of Burleigh?
Yes.
Okay, because my other question was going to be, why is it this is kind of like rhetorical, but
Yeah.
it seems like everyone always decides to work on the property before Burleigh when they think about Amani. They never work on anything on the other side of Burleigh, as if that side of Amani doesn't exist. So.
Yeah, I would just refer you back to the map with the green lines, is that it really doesn't matter where we start. We just need a 4 to 6 block area that has enough properties for us to build over a 3 to 5 year. This is an example of how this could work. The benefit of choosing this area first is that we already have 6 homes that are already funded there. But you could move right up north of Burleigh as the next one and just keep going up and then start back. It's a neighborhood choice. Wherever the consensus is, we could execute this strategy. And
Well,
there's a
you
lot
have
of
two, you have,
assets in Burleigh too.
You got a question back there.
Yes.
you have 2 empty spots on 20th and Center, right across the street from each other.
Yeah, so one of the interesting decisions to make in all of this is what should go on Center, which is a much bigger conversation. So I live off of Center, you know, further down the road on 42nd Street. And the question is, on Center and Burleigh, is that a good place for people to own a home, or should that be used for some other purpose? And so this strategy would be for the homeowner side of the equation. So there's a question that we had for the larger group is, should we plan for housing on Burleigh and Center, or should we leave those parcels alone, knowing that those aren't great for home ownership, but they might be used for other ideas in the future?
That makes sense. That makes sense, because it's not gonna, homes are not gonna fit in those areas she's talking about that's empty. Homes are not gonna fit there. It doesn't make sense for a residence to be on those corners. But commercial property would be
Right.
perfect. So that makes sense. I appreciate you answering that.
So Alderman Jackson, at the last zoning and neighborhood development meeting, you said as soon as you get this idea perfected, come and present it to residents. So that's why I'm here today. So hopefully this is something that you would support as well. And we look forward to working with both residents and the Alderman's office to make sure that it works out.
Well, I was on the
And I'll leave my contact information, and thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, T. I was just gonna say, before we leave, Alderman Jackson, if you want to share something in these last few minutes, and then also those surveys, if y'all can fill those out before y'all leave, they're kind of short. I would appreciate it. I can take those back. You got a few minutes, you can say something? Okay, once he finished. I did tell him about your office hours on Monday.
Okay.
But you can share whatever you want.
All right, good morning. Well, this past month, I had my first health event. Went fairly well, maybe clocked 55 people, and thank Crystal for helping me out with that. I had it at Safe and Sound off of Roosevelt. So for 44 for Roosevelt. So my next one I plan to have here. Free health event. Working with a Racine friend of mine, Dino Torsen, out of Racine. He's looking to set up shop here. So I plan that out. It'll be free to the public, free health screenings. And he gets right back to him, gets with the local. So if you see you have something you checked out or have you follow up, he will find your local provider. He does all the legwork for you. Just call if you let you know what you have.
Does this have to be an indoor event?
No, outside or indoor.
Maybe that can coordinate with the Harvest Fest and Apple Street thing in October. Not sure, or maybe before, I don't know.
Squeeze as many as I can.
I'm not mad about it.
The ultimate goal is to have to get back to having a mobile health vehicle that can just hit different communities every week.
Every week.
Every week.
Okay.
And that's a partnership with private and plus city. So I already talked to the health department, some I'm working on. In the shadows. And thanks for what you was talking about. I went to a tour in Chicago of modular homes. I don't think it'll be a hard sell here in Milwaukee, but we don't have those straight style shotgun houses, you know. But they are 3-bedroom, 2.5 baths, brand new construction. And this guy has a turnaround in 10 weeks. So
Those are prefab.
prefab. Yep.
but they come with a higher energy rating because they built inside. So, you know, you have to have your wood and everything outside first to cure and, you know, grow and shrink and everything. Once you bring it in, that's when you can maximize everything, your waterproofing, your everything. Because, you know, when you're doing new construction, you can get rain, the weather and everything constantly changing. If you do it indoors, you have a higher energy rating, which also leads to the energy tax credit when you first drop the house as well. So, I was thinking.
But the homes that, if he's speaking of, when they go in, are they taking in consideration the style of the homes that are already there? Is that looked at?
So for the homes that we're looking at, we had a neighborhood tour where 30 Amani residents went to go see the tour. We got the feedback. For example, one of the homes that was put in didn't have a bathtub on the first floor, so that was a big thing to make sure that it had a bathtub and had a shower on the first floor. So we get comments like that from folks to do that and make sure that they fit in with what residents want. The good thing about modular that the Alderman was talking about is that you can adopt what it looks like on the outside to make sure it's accommodating. So we're always happy to look at other models. Many of you know Cordella, who actually lugs around the actual models of things to show people. So we wouldn't build anything until we had residents' direction on whether it's something that works in the neighborhood, which we know for the styles we're building. But we'll follow up with the alder person and look and see and bring that model, see if it's something you're interested.
And see, I can't remember the homes we went to. Most of the bedrooms were on the first floor, weren't they? Or we had to go upstairs.
Yeah, all of them were on the first floor, which
Yeah.
was intentional. There
And that's good because as people get older, they're finding out that sometimes they have to convert their living room into a hospital room because someone has gotten ill and they can't go upstairs. So I think when people are buying homes, they're looking at that. The reason why they want the bathtub downstairs or a shower because we're getting old. And you need that shower, the option between a shower and a tub, you know what I'm saying? So those are good things that we need to be considering, because I'm getting old.
This my last the main bedroom on the first floor. And also you can encompass the laundry room and everything on the first floor. So upstairs is just rooms.
And then on the homes that he showed us, you had an option where they did, like if you wanted to put a bathroom downstairs, they already have the plumbing there.
That's right.
Yeah. And then you can build a bedroom down there if you wanted to, or whatever. And I thought that was great too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you can be strategic with these things building. You know?
Yeah.
You can have all the furnaces and everything, all the maintenance, you have it all in one corner. So you have more house left, so to speak, more basement left.
Right.
Or you can do it all in the center and build around it. So, but that's just something I'm working on, something I'm looking into. So with the health thing, hopefully looking to partner with Amani again on that. And my office hours, thanks for mentioning that. My office hours next week I'll be in the community. So my office hours will be here Monday, probably 9 to 3. Pick somebody to go lunch to and do like that. Tuesday I'll be at Bridge Builders, that's up for 40th and Marion.
Okay.
And Wednesday I'll be at Sherman Perk. Stops on Roosevelt.
Now, you have all this scheduled on your agenda somewhere, so people can find out.
Well,
So,
I thought it was put out by Amani, but I did do an email blast. I'm not sure if it went out.
oh yeah, so out there on our website. So on our website is out there. And so now people don't have to squat. Where's our alderman? Well, then you have to tell right over here to his office hour.
Well, it's interesting that I actually met a Black Club on 24th and Concord, which is a little bit outside of Amani. And they said the same thing. We only see y'all during election time. I was like, well, I'm always here. Y'all right down the street. If y'all don't come here, this is where you can see me.
Right.
This realistic, it's 40,000 people. But if you somewhere where you know I'll be, or somewhere where
So
they have communications with me, that's the way to go.
Right here, I have a question.
So you know, and I need to speak to about situations with our trashy alleys. And that people not cleaning up in their yards. I feel that the landlords, if they're renting to someone, how do we address that issue? Because I don't know who they sent me to, but they said my alderman was this particular person. I left several messages. I live next door to a family that refuses to clean up their yard. My yard is quite nice. I'm a renter.
What block are you on, if you don't mind me asking?
Pardon?
Across the street. So This your
Yeah,
outreach.
yes,
So you are my ornament, so I left a few messages and I never got a
You probably
response.
called the general number. It's like
I don't know.
that.
That was
Pull
my
up
first
on,
time.
pull up on Monday.
I live down the street,
Yeah.
ain't no problem.
Yeah.
Right here on
But
Monday.
that's what I'm saying. I would like to address that because we, you know, there's quite a few homeowners on our block.
Well, yeah, I could put it in with DNS. So.
Yeah, and I like that trash down in the alley and all, and the one thing in the alley, right there on the front of you, in front of your yard, is
And that's the part.
horrible.
What you just said, getting in touch with DNS, that's the part, because that's what I tried to tell. I used to work for the city. And that's what I try to tell people. Go through the process before you call the order person. You can anonymously, I think we talked about this, I don't know.
Mhm.
You can
That's what I'm doing.
anonymously,
Mhm.
okay, so you can anonymously report a property for anything with DNS. They have an anonymous number.
They actually have a, website as well that,
Okay, it's just the process. Yeah, the thing is just the process. Go through that first.
Not
When
help
they
you that.
separated all of that, then call DeAndre and say, listen here.
See,
I
that's
called
what my
everybody.
landlord told me, call the order.
Yeah, that's always everybody's easy answer, but if you go through the process, you can ask
Now,
for
you know something?
everything.
Your landlord told you, he owns the property. Why don't he take his tail and do the.
But it's not his
It's
property
not
that's
his
being trained. I live in his property, it's well maintained.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about the neighbors. I got a terrible
But that's what you complain.
situation. Yeah. And I had a terrible case, feel I'm talking about jumping out of drawers, running down my cord into the microwave in the ice box. And yeah, I had my own time because my neighbors were trash.
Well, I can help you get that, app, and then also, like I said, he'll be here on Monday, so.
All right. That's why when she said the alderman is here, I'm looking like, yeah, cause then.
Your phone is here.
All right, well, now, this is my first time ever coming to.
Here, right?
It is, this is the way I look at it. Call the big dog in.
And he go
Right.
out.
Now he know he got a fight on his hand. He knows that you've already been through all this stuff. He don't wanna hear no excuses. Get up.
Thursday morning, I'll be right there with the DNS supervisor.
There you go.
Okay,
I'm
so,
gonna start the line with
any other questions for him? He gonna be here on Monday from 9 to 3.
You putting us out now?
No.
And especially you gonna be introduced.
Thank
So I forgot to tell you all that the youth council will be having a car wash and market day on August 21st. So you want your car wash come through?
For
That's
free?
how you.
No.
Oh, man.
Kid. Yeah, did you understand?
Wait,
Everybody.
Stuff like that there. The products that will be used for the car wash will be handmade by our ethnobotanist, I think I said that right, Ms. Rachel Campbell. And the products that will be sold on that day by the youth council will also be made. Okay, well, add to it. Come on, hello, everyone. The State Department.
That it's not just the Amani Youth Council that is home. It is the Amani Youth Council in alliance with my business organization that is. The car wash is.
Talk a little bit louder for the people online.
My apologies. The car wash is so that we can begin raising money and taking children around the city, around the state, around the world, giving them opportunities that they will not have, reconnecting them to nature. I go throughout cities and just pick resources. So I pick some cherry trees and we make products. And so that's what that is. We're turning this into that. So there is a fee that goes to it. There will be a flyer onto their website, but the monies will not, they come through my organization because this is for me to build. So not only is it Amani children, but it's children all over the world. I'm looking to incorporate my STEM program that teaches them about science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So these children are very related when they make these products, and we would like for you guys to support them, and so that you can see the resources that they use around Amani in different areas to create products to make your vehicle look good, shine bright like a crystal, right? Crystal shine bright like a diamond, and then to make your vehicle smell. So that's all I want to say. There is a cost, it's $10. I'm offering for the first 100 people, I will be giving free. And what's happening is when people buy my products, my business is going to own 75% of my proceeds to help do the things inside of our community that can't.
And I just wanna say, her products are good, I've used it on my hair, my face, my skin, so try it, it's best.
And Ms. Lucretia.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I was
Okay.
gonna say, she could, maybe people can make car wash, maybe just donate.
Oh, it'll be on the, yeah,
So we don't.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. It is right.
They're sponsoring me, thank you. The program, they believe in her children that wanted to. These young people are group.
So,
And her team, and her team.
you part of the thing. You got anything else, Ms. Brown?
No, what she said.
Okay, so this has been a lengthy meeting, but it was a lot of information that was shared here today. So I thank all the presenters who came to share. Thank you to our new guests, new friend, Ms. Terry. So again, we just thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for joining online, and you guys enjoy the rest of y'all day. We will meet on the first Saturday of August. We're going back to our regular schedule and just changed because of the holiday. So August 3rd, the first Saturday, we will be here 8:30 or by
Tell
Zoom.
your neighbors and your friends to come out, this is where you hear about resources.
What she said. So thank y'all, and y'all have a good one.